I grew up in the church. I accepted Jesus when I was 6 years old. It felt like I knew everything for a long time. I think I struggled a lot with the performance, feeling like I had to measure up to something that I wasn't. Everything that I had dreamed and hoped and wanted was to be married. All of the rules that I followed didn't get me there. You know, the first time that I ever have sex, I get pregnant. The shame and the judgment of myself that I had put on single moms for years came over me. I wrestled for months. God, are you still here? I had only 2 people that looked at me and said, "What were you thinking?" Everyone else, they came alongside of me and said, "We are with you." I may have the choice. To me, there wasn't a choice. God creates life. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that my son is a gift from God. That's why his name is Theodore. It means gift of God, and I wanted to claim that over his life.
Oh, so good.
By his name.
That is beautiful. You thought outside of yourself. And I think that's the key, is making this decision wasn't a decision that was just for you. It was for him.
Yeah.
Hey there, this is Pastor Mark, and I'm so glad you joined us today for One on One. We have an amazing storytelling podcast where we get to know the heart and the soul of people, not only from 2911 Church and our community, but most importantly from the greater kingdom of God. And today we have a very special guest that I'm so excited to spend some time with, and that is Bre Lee. Welcome. Woo!
Hi, thank you. It's so exciting to be here.
Welcome to One on One. And one thing we love to do here, Bre, is just exchange stories. And that's one of my favorite parts of being a human. I've always loved storytelling, always loved film and television, and sometimes the stories that can be told. But the greater stories are with the connection of human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I want to encourage you. You got a great story. And I know our audience today is going to get the chance to hear not only your story, but be encouraged by it. So I was going to start out, of course, by asking a little bit about the journey you and Jesus have had in your personal story. You know, our salvation story is always the most effective and most incredible personal opportunity we have to share about change in our life.
Yeah.
And my salvation story started as a 17-year-old doobie smoking kid. They don't use that word very often anymore, doobies. But I was a doobie smoker and overcame a lot early on, adopted kid. And so the journey of just life and little guys and little girls and babies and, you know, the fact that my biological mom gave me a chance is something that's so close to my heart. So we're going to get the chance to talk about that today because you've got an amazing little guy in your life.
I do.
You are a part of our Embrace Grace ministry, which I so appreciate and have such an admiration for. And you actually lead part of the second chapter of Embrace Grace, which is called Embrace Life. But before that, let's talk a little bit about Bre and your salvation story.
Yeah.
How did you get to know Jesus?
Yeah, so I grew up in the church.
Church kid.
I was a church kid.
Okay.
My parents basically, I jokingly say this, but they were basically pastors without the title. So they helped start a church in Tempe, actually. So yeah, oh my goodness. I think it's 2 miles, 3 miles from 2911.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a vineyard church that we started at, and I was the little girl that always brought her Bible to church. I accepted Jesus when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And honestly, I do believe that that was the moment that I followed Jesus.
Wow.
I have such a deep belief about who God is and who Jesus is in my life that accepting him at 6 it's real.
Yeah.
I grew up in a homeschool Christian community in Arizona.
Okay.
I did Awana. I was at all of the Bible sword drills. Like I knew the scriptures inside and out. Those were the things that I learned. And so growing up as a kid in the church, it felt like I knew everything for a long time. I was like, oh yeah, I know that story. Oh yeah, we've heard that before. And as an adult, thinking about those things has been such a beautiful, sweet thing that my parents ingrained into me, because it's now something that I recall those scriptures that I learned when I was 4 years old, 5 years old.
Write it on your heart. It matters, man.
Yes, exactly. And I got to bind it around my neck and write it on my heart. And that's such a beautiful thing. At the time, I think it's hard because you're in it and that's all you're doing, it feels like most of the time. That was our whole community because we were in the church.
Yeah.
And so there's, like most believers who have walked in the church, there was church hurt in my family too, you know? And for me, experiencing that, it wasn't about the church and being hurt by the church. It was, what does God want me to know? What am I doing so that Jesus can speak to me in all of these moments? And so instead of being hurt by the church and walking away from the church, I dove deeper. And I started helping in my youth ministry. When I was 16 or 17 years old, we had gone to a different church at the time. And it was, I explain it to my mom now because she always asks the question, why did you do that? Why did you want to keep going to church like that? Because they had their own journey. My parents, they love the Lord and they serve the Lord, and it's beautiful to see that. But they had their own journey and did home church for a while, and I kept staying in the church. And she asked me about that recently, probably within the last couple of years, and I said, I believe that my calling in life is to invest in people who love Jesus because they need Jesus more. And that's why I love the church. We all do. Yeah. But there's so many people that want to go out and do a missions trip or do the things and travel everywhere. I'm like, my call is to be in the American church because in America we have so many things. Yeah. But what we really need is Jesus.
Yeah. Wow.
Period.
Wow. The local church is so crucial for that.
Absolutely.
And can get overlooked. And I know there's a lot of stuff between hurt and politics, and it's just organization. Yeah. But when you break down the book of Acts, break down what Jesus was trying to leave and entrust the disciples with, community is so important to the growth of who we are. Yeah. So obviously you felt that as a young person. Did you ever feel just sheltered by it all then?
Absolutely, I did. Are you kidding me? I don't think that I listened to secular music until I was 18 years old.
Oh my gosh. Wow. It's amazing. That's discipline.
I mean, I don't know if it's discipline or just I'm a firstborn, so you follow the rules. Yeah. That's what I did for most of my life. And, I grew up in the time of purity culture and what that meant, and being homeschooled and Christian, and you stick to the rules. You stick to the things that you're told to do. And that was hard.
Yeah.
It was hard to feel like I always had to measure up and to perform to be this person that followed all the rules.
Wow. Sheltering culture can be positive in some aspects because it does build a safety net, but it also can do the opposite. And it can kind of, like a rubber band, tighten things, and then bam, they go crazy because you can only be sheltered at some level. So you're in this journey, you're experiencing your identity in Christ, you're figuring it out. What were some of the mountains then? Because here you are today, you're leading an amazing ministry called Embrace Life. You're dealing with single moms. You're a single mom. Some people might look at you and go, well, when did something change? Right?
Right.
The judgment of Christians and or the, you get those eyes of people that something must have happened in her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did that like rise up in you, and how have you overcome this window you've been in?
Yeah. So I guess the best place to start is a few years ago.
Yeah.
I decided to go back and get a master's degree when I was 28 or 29.
Okay.
And I am the first in my family to have a master's degree.
It's awesome. Huge.
It is awesome. And so I decided to be an overachiever, and I have two.
Oh, man. Maybe you should be running this podcast.
No.
What are your degrees in?
So I have an MBA and a master's in leadership.
Wow.
And I decided to go back to school for both of those.
That's amazing.
Thank you. I decided to go back to school that late after my original bachelor's because I wanted to marry that idea of good business taking care of people. And what does that look like in corporate America? Because I don't think that's done well here. Yeah. So I'll tell you that I had a great plan for my life. It ended when I got my master's degree.
It did. Oh.
That was the end of my plan, because everything that I had dreamed and hoped and wanted was to be married and to have a family and to be a mom. And everything, all of the rules that I followed didn't get me there. And I sat with the Lord so much and asked, why? What? I've done all of these things. I've been successful. I had a 4.0, and I did the commencement speech for my graduation.
No way.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I mean,
this
is leadership. I mean, you are, when you define yourself as a leader, you're not just saying, I tried to be a leader. I mean, obviously, I can see that leadership on you. You don't get these opportunities.
Right. And I was nominated for that. It was the first time that the school had ever done that. And my dream had been to speak in front of 3,000 people. I spoke in front of 7,000.
Wow.
And
overachiever.
Telling you, this is, a huge part of my story. And so I got to that spot, and I was actually praying a couple weeks ago, and the Lord revealed to me that that was the end of my plan. And that's when everything kind of went off, and I realized, well, I don't get the things that I want now, so what can I do differently? And my son's father told me that he wanted to give me all of those things that I wanted. A marriage, a partner, a family, all of that. And I was like, oh, well, maybe this is it. Yeah. This is maybe, okay, here we go.
Were you dating him at that point?
We were dating. We had been friends for 2.5 years.
Okay.
So I felt like I knew him very well.
Yeah.
And what I've come to learn since this whole thing, because he's not really in my son's life, he's not in mine, and is that you can't talk someone into making a decision, because sometimes most of the time, people's decisions have nothing to do with you. I even have it on the background of my phone still. It has nothing to do with me. Wow. Because he promised me all of these things, and we went through this journey together, and then, I had been in purity culture, so it was 32 years of staying true to what I believe that God has said, which is, abstain until you're married.
Yeah.
We were not married. Okay. And and then, the first time that I ever have sex, I get pregnant. Wow. And at the time, we weren't together when I found out. Wow. And because I had told him, you need to get your life together. You need to figure some stuff out before we can be together. Yeah. And little did I know that this was going to be the moment that I would find out that I was carrying a child. And for background, her mom was actually a single mom as well. And so I grew up around that idea of single motherhood, but I didn't ever talk to my mom about that.
Yeah.
And I grew up in the church.
Yeah.
So I looked at single mothers as that little side eye we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, what did you do that you became a single mom?
Yeah.
So when I found out I was pregnant, the shame and the judgment of myself that I had put on single moms for years came over me.
Yeah.
And I wrestled for months. I didn't tell hardly anyone. I told my parents a month after I found out. I told my close friends and my inner circle, and truly had to sit in that questioning of God, what are you doing? You had the power to take this away. Yeah. You had the power. So why?
Okay, 32 years. How on earth, in this crazy world we live in, how on earth, that is so rare to have somebody at that age to remain pure. How on earth, number one, were you able to keep that commitment to yourself? And then what brought you to the point of being able to say, well, just this once, or, if you want to use the word, some people might use a word like compromise. How on earth could that happen if you had been so strong for so long?
I think it really came down to feeling like I wanted something that I wasn't going to get from God.
Kind of that your plan was over, but still, like you said earlier, but you were still engaging in your plan when you didn't see God's come along and unfold like you wanted it, maybe.
Yeah, and because I'd been so faithful for so long, because there was so much of my heart and belief was these are the things that I've done. I do think that a lot of Christians and churches don't talk about what that is like as an old adult to abstain from having sex.
Yeah.
What does that look like? How do you deal with it in your relationship? How do you talk about it with your married friends? Because one of the things that I had told one of my married friends, I was like, well, was it worth it to wait? You've never told me. You've been married for 8 years and we've been best friends for this whole time. And I finally got an answer out of her, but it feels like a taboo subject to talk about.
Isn't that crazy still that it would be taboo?
Yes.
But
because
no.
in my experience, it's not taboo with people who are not believers.
Right.
You can have honest and frank conversations about it. You can, with believers, there's almost this tight-lipped, well, you should just do what it says in Scripture.
Yeah.
Well, let's actually talk about the practical realities of what that looks like.
Yeah.
Because attraction is real.
Yeah.
And how do we...
We're human, right?
We're human.
Yeah.
How do we be human and do that? And so for me, it was the end of that belief and truly not believing. This is the one area that I didn't believe that God wanted good for me in. If we're going to be honest.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of people when it comes to this taboo subject.
Yeah. Whether it's marriage or family. And because I had that performance mindset for so long, because I grew up the way that I did and I believed the rules were going to keep me safe, right? I had done the right things.
Yeah.
And, okay, if you do the right things, you get the reward, right?
Right. Good little boy, good little girl.
That is not true.
No.
Here we are.
Yeah. So true.
So in that moment, it was a slow, the enemy does that. He does it slowly and he works into your mind and he asks the questions and you seek out the answers and you find the answers that you want from people that may not be the best source.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, there were good people in my life that are still in my life that have walked with me that told me not to do it.
Yeah.
They were actively invested in who I am as a person and wanted the best for me. So even with a solid community, because my heart has so desperately desired marriage and family, we were in love.
Yeah.
So this should be right?
Right. At least that's what we want to believe.
That's what we want to believe.
And I think about your life, and I think about the beautiful leader God has already placed in you, and who you were becoming, who you are. Even though we may feel that sense of confidence in us, we're still vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Did that vulnerability after that moment, I mean, what did you know right away, okay, man, I blew 32 years, or I have no idea where my future is going. Like you said, you isolated maybe for months trying to figure out where am I at? How did you deal with that shame, guilt, all that?
Yeah. It was a lot that I felt. It wasn't instantaneously after.
Yeah.
It was almost this, people get away with this all the time in the church.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, oh, well, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
No one will know.
Yeah.
Okay, which is not true.
Right.
I will say that. But there was this moment after I had gotten pregnant where I specifically asked the Lord, so why did you want it to be visible for me?
Wow. It's a tough question.
Yep. And I felt so much of that. Excuse me. I felt so much of that shame, not from anyone else.
Yeah.
I had one person, maybe two people in my close friend group who had walked through life with me for years. I am a person that I have friends from high school. Okay.
That's awesome.
I am mid 30s now.
Okay.
And I have friends from high school still because I want to do life with people. I want to build that community that is strong and people are surrounding you and able to speak life into you in a different way because they have seen you through so many stages. Not that I'm opposed to making new friends because I do love friends and new people and it's great. But living in that community and walking with people, I had only two people that looked at me and said, "What were you thinking?" Everyone else, they came alongside of me and said, "We are with you."
Yeah. Wow.
And even when you have people that do that, Mark, it doesn't discount the shame and the judgment that you put on yourself. And that's what I wrestled with for months. Finally, I just was tired of telling people one-on-one, and I said, everyone can know. Go ahead, tell all the people. Because I didn't need to have that conversation because it was the plethora of questions of, are you guys together? Is he going to be involved? What is that going to look like? What are you doing right now? And I just didn't have the energy to talk about that when I was so focused on, God, are you still here?
Wow. And obviously, not only was he, but he is. How do we help the church with this matter? Because if you felt that, and think of the maturity and the confidence and how you grew up and the sheltering in a positive light, but think of so many people that don't have all those things and suffer as well, feeling the shame and the guilt. What should we be doing to help somebody that was in your shoes?
2911 does a really good job of that with Embrace Grace and bringing awareness to a long-standing taboo subject. Single motherhood is not one that we talk about often in the church at large. And I would know I've been to a lot of churches and I'm involved in a lot of churches, done a lot of ministry.
Yeah.
And that exposure of this is not outside of God's goodness because he is still walking with these people.
Yeah.
Not alienating them. I think a lot of times churches focus on the family aspect as a married couple family aspect rather than what does it look like to parent well and differentiating that. But I also think that a lot of churches struggle with understanding how to honor the single season just as much as the married season.
Amen. So true.
And that's separated a lot of people in a lot of areas. I don't know if that answered a question.
No, it does. I mean, there's almost a bit of a stigmatism to being single already.
Right.
Then you add another element to it, and it can easily be a way to build a wall or shut a door in somebody's life. Or they would do it to themselves. Like in your case, I'm fine. I'll build this wall up and I have my own shame to deal with. But I pray and hope great examples of love and life like you lead, Embrace Grace, Amy Ford there, and that organization, that we can break this taboo. Because it does not only affect your life, but it affects the future.
Absolutely.
And I know for me, a little bit of my journey is, I think why I'm so encouraged by watching you is I think, man, I'm so grateful that there was something for you. And I think of my bio mom, and I think there was nothing for her. She lived at a time when, she had a choice. She made the choice to keep the child at least through pregnancy, but there was nothing for her after, and spiraled and has continued. She's 82 now, and I think has spent her life feeling isolated and alone and never being able to reconcile her heart with the fact that life was a good decision. Yeah. Did you ever get to a point where you're like, I have so much into this that I need to terminate this because it will help me spiritually continue this life that I'm living as a leader, as a daughter of God? This is probably a better direction. Or did you from the get-go go, absolutely not? Because you had that choice.
It could have been very different. I told you earlier, my mom's mom.
Yeah.
My grandma was a single mom as well. And so there are generations of gratitude now.
Wow.
Because if that was the choice my grandmother had made, I wouldn't have my mom and I wouldn't be alive.
Yeah.
So
true.
It's an active conversation in our home. And I may have the choice. To me, there wasn't a choice because God creates life. Yeah. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that my son is a gift from God. Amen. That's why his name is Theodore.
Yep.
Because it means gift of God, and I wanted to claim that over his life.
Oh, so good.
By his name.
Yeah. That is beautiful.
Yeah.
And what's cool, Bre, is you thought outside of yourself. And I think that's the key is maybe making this decision wasn't a decision that was just for you. It was for him.
Yeah. One of the things a friend had given me that she prayed before he was even born, that he would be a connector of people. Man. And that started so early into my pregnancy.
Really?
I could tell you story after story after story of God's goodness and how Theo, before he was even out of my womb, connected me with people. And now the stories that I could tell you. Yeah. And it is a constant reminder that my God is bigger than anything that I could ever see, that I could think, that I could imagine, because this little tiny human that isn't even 2 years old yet has such a powerful impact on the world around him. And I get to witness that.
Yeah.
I have been given the privilege to be his mom, which you know what does for me? It pushes me to know Jesus more.
Yeah.
How can I be the best version of myself if I don't know Jesus more? How can I teach my son how to live a life that is worthy of God?
Wow.
By not investing in who I am as a believer, to have the community, to have the encouragement, to have the iron sharpening iron every single day. I'm not going to be what he needs without Jesus.
Oh, so good. And I think back to your testimony of, I always wanted to have a family, or I always wanted to be a mom, and look at the beautiful gift. Some people might say, oh, well, it didn't happen the way that, this or that should have happened. But the fact that you are right where you are and that God takes everything, like you said, and uses it for the good. Yeah. You are creating a space for him to become exactly who God's designed him to be, which is so awesome. And I want to commend you and others out there who have made that opportunity, whether it's through being a mom or adopting or fostering or whatever it might be, giving that child a chance. Yeah. So tell me then, Embrace Grace, how did that line up in your life on this journey?
Yeah. Let me tell you the story. It's a good one. My mom is so kind. I think you've met her before.
Yes.
And she was so... There is an organization called Voices for the Voiceless. Okay. My brother was a part of it.
Yeah,
it's you. Yep. So a fellow homeschooler that was in my brother's year, a few years younger than me, started that organization.
No way. Wow.
Yes, my brother has been a part of it. He worked for them as a volunteer for a while. My mom is a big supporter of them. And it's beautiful. And they have a ton of resources. So my mom went on this need to find all of the resources once I told her that I was pregnant. I told her and my dad on Valentine's Day.
Did they freak out? What did you feel? Were you afraid? Did you feel like, or were you like, no, this is going to go, I know it's going to go okay? No, you're like, no, I don't know what I'm going to say.
I waited a month because I was trying to build up the courage to tell my parents, because I was the kid that did everything right. Yeah. I was the woman that had done all of the right things up until this point in my head. Okay. And it's Valentine's Day, so I thought it was appropriate. I don't know, whatever. You just go with what is happening, right?
Right.
I sit down and
wow.
I tell him I'm pregnant. And my dad was like, I'm going to have another grandson or another grandbaby. Yeah. It was the sixth grandchild. Okay, for both my parents. And there was something in me that healed in that moment that my dad said that.
Wow.
And my mom was excited as well. I think she was more in shock than my dad was. And it was a beautiful moment of acceptance that I didn't realize that I needed. And yeah, it was amazing. So
that in itself to me is a message that helps me as a parent and can help a parent, because we never know where our children, what they're dealing with always. We don't know what they're experiencing, but sitting down with them, even though it could be shock, it could be, you feel a chaotic, I don't know, but at the same time, loving and embracing, I think is a good example here of they gave you what you needed. I love that you said in that moment that helped heal my heart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Kudos to your parents.
I still think about that moment when I'm struggling as a single mom, because it's like, no, he was supposed to be here. God knew. So it was a beautiful thing. And because I had their support so early on, I felt more able to keep going.
Okay.
And that was a necessary thing when I was working and I was doing all the things and seeing all the people. And so my mom went on this bend to find a bunch of different resources, and she found Embrace Grace because she had heard about it through someone else, a friend of a friend, right? Hope Women's Center is who actually my mentor worked for a long time as well. She found Embrace Grace, and there's multiple that meet all over. Yeah. So this is actually a funny story. I don't know if Brenda has told you this, but I had found a church that was a little bit closer to me, and I knew of the church because I'd heard of them before. So I was like, oh, I'll just go to that one. I show up to that one, and there was a couple of leaders, and surprisingly, one of the leaders there had a story very similar to mine. And we were able to bond really quickly, but they were at the end of the session. And so I had asked, hey, I'd really like to go through this curriculum. I do feel like this is something that I need, because I was dealing with so much shame and judgment and just that burden of what was next. They had promised me that was going to happen. So I kept going. And then I found out that they couldn't promise that anymore. And Brenda, my mom had reached out to Brenda.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Via email. And Brenda was like, yes, like have her come. We'd love to have her, whatever. Well, my mom gives her my phone number. I reach out to Brenda before I find this other group. And she tells me when it is, when it's starting, all of that. I was like, okay, great. Well, I go to this other group and I text Brenda, hey, I'm not going to be able to come. So sorry. Well, then this whole thing falls apart, and I text Brenda again, hey, are you guys still going? Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to see you. Great. So I walk in not knowing what to expect. And to give you a comparison of the two groups, okay, I walk into 2911 and there are so many people there. The tables are like filled with the paraphernalia that Embrace Grace gives you. There's food on the table. Like there's dinner that happens. There's candy. And all of that, as someone who is scared and feeling ashamed walking into a space, it really warms to you. And I didn't know that I could feel so safe in a room of people that I didn't know. That's the only way that I can describe it.
Wow.
And I they come up to me because I'm clearly pregnant and, oh, hi, how are you? What's your name? And I, get introduced to Brenda and Ashley, and I sit down, and I happen to sit by Jessica Purcell.
Oh, yeah.
And she was one of the only other single moms in there. And I was like, God, was that you? Because we sat down and we hit it off, and I was like, okay, I think I can show up here again. Mm-hmm. And I was a couple of weeks behind.
Yeah.
So I think I started on week 2, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they ask you to do the homework.
Yeah.
I did my homework.
There you go. There's that.
Overachiever. I told them.
Yeah.
I told them at the beginning. I was like, this is who I am.
Yeah. I'll do it all.
I'll do it all. It's a running joke now between Brenda and I that she always had to tell me to be quiet when we were starting because I was just so loud in the group.
I can't imagine that.
I know. Who would have known?
I don't know.
But getting to sit there and watch those videos and talk with these women and be able to just be in my season, that safety that came without any of them knowing my story.
Yeah.
They just knew that I showed up and I was pregnant and was going to have a baby. And the love that I felt there was tremendous, to the point where I told myself, you have to go to this church, because if there is people like this who are willing to love you in your season when you can't love yourself very well, then that is the church that you need to be at. And I had been at a different church before that.
Yeah.
I love church.
Yeah.
I'm always at a local church.
Yeah.
And so seeing a place where it felt safe and knowing that if I walked in on a Sunday morning, I wouldn't be judged. I wouldn't be asked a million questions. I would just be loved. Mark, the first Sunday that I showed up at 2911, every single person that I interacted with, I knew from Embrace Grace, from getting out of my car
No way.
into my seat.
Wow.
And then you came on stage, and I was like, this guy did youth ministry. I like him. We're staying.
He's weird.
Yeah.
We're staying. Oh, that's so comforting to know. And it should be that way. Last year, one of the goals I had is I wanted to write a story about, you, not necessarily you, but you, and that first initial visit, because it's scary. You walk in a place where you have no idea you're going to be accepted or not, loved or not. And I just, everything you're saying in my mind, I go back, and for me, it's the trail of, I wish my bio mom could have had that. Yeah. So writing something, hoping that it can help somebody else is the truth. And I call it the Embrace Grace ladies in the book. Wrote just a short fiction novel as a fundraiser for, but those ladies have no idea how important they are in making somebody feel safe, because your mind is in so many other places. You're trying to figure out, what is this going to look like? What is this going to feel like? I'm going to have I've never had a baby. You don't need somebody to put the pressure of then trying to fit in. You just need some candy on the table, a meal to be taken care of, and then somebody to wrap their arms around you and go, we're just with you. Yeah. And I just think of how many girls out there just don't have that. And we know the history as we watch. I think we've seen 27 women come through, and every time my heart just breaks, and at the same time also grows, because they just need what you needed, and that's a place. So what was that journey then? You did the homework, you did, you showed up. Yep. And I think that's part of it. You got to show up, and that, were there weeks you did not want to show up?
Oh yeah. Especially if I had been dealing with a lot of stuff, but because I am self-aware, I took that opportunity to be in Embrace Grace and talk about what was going on.
Yeah.
And this is how I felt raw this week. And having those women come alongside me and say, wow, I know what that feels like, or that's so tough. And, we're with you in it. How can we be praying? I had women follow up with me if I didn't show up a week. Yeah. Because they just wanted to make sure that I was okay. Yeah. And there were, obviously life happens and it's weekly. So there's going to be times where you don't come. But it was the place that I needed to be seen without anyone knowing who I was.
Wow.
And that was the way that I felt like I could be known as who I was in that season, in that space.
Loved and accepted as you are.
Yes.
Wow. So this little guy comes along. Tell me all about Theo.
He is so happy and joyful, and he always wants to play. He is such he came out, and I was immediately in love with this little baby. I had no idea. And I had no idea what it was going to be like to, go through labor and to have all of these things and to spend the night with him. And I lived alone at the time. Yeah. So
Which is a whole nother level that, I mean, we could talk about for probably another hour is how on earth do you deal with all that alone? Watching some of these new moms and hearing their stories, and Brenda and Ashley and our team, I mean, it's mind-blowing because there's so many things you're experiencing just by yourself.
Yes.
So anyways.
Yes. And I do believe that God gave me a good sleeper on purpose because he knew that I needed it. I mean, obviously not right away, but I loved that little boy from the get-go. And I knew that he was a gift of God. His middle name is Asher.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which means happy and blessed. And I did that on purpose because, one, I wanted him to know that he was a gift to me every day. And I also wanted him to have that namesake of joy, like happiness and blessing.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So he's probably my favorite person in the world. I'm not going to lie to you.
We'll let you have that.
Thank you. He's so much fun to be around. I talk to him like he's a person, and I've done that since he was a baby, and people always give me these weird looks in the grocery store because I tell him, okay, now we're going to go get the lettuce. And he's like, especially almost 2 now. Yeah. He's very close to 2, and he is a
cutie, man.
Yeah, he's adventurous, and he's observant, and he's curious. And I have people tell me all the time how happy he is and that he looks just like me. And I'm like, thank you so much. We are cute, aren't we? But he truly is such a joy just to be around. Yeah. And getting to spend time with him and investing in him now has, like I said earlier, just pushes me to be closer to Christ. I did, because I'm me, I decided that I wanted to have a set of family values.
That's so cool.
And a family mission statement because he and I are a family.
You are? Yes.
We are a family. And
I love it.
I wanted him to have those things, and they're on our wall at home. So and I say them to him now. He doesn't quite understand, but that's
He's
okay.
Like, yeah.
But I wanted him to have something to cling to that I believed that God gave me for our family. And it's such a beautiful weight lifted off of me that I don't have to try to figure that out.
Yeah.
It just is right there.
Yeah.
And it's focused on Jesus. It's focused on the Holy Spirit and asking him for what we need. And I don't have it memorized. I'll get there eventually.
It's all right.
But the thing that is at the end of our family mission statement is that we're constantly living our lives so that other people look up. And they're looking up to Jesus. And that's what I want for both of us. I want when he walks into a room, people know that he is filled with the Spirit. And so he's such a gift to me.
Wow. There's no doubt he will be that gift, but will bring that gift into other people's lives. And I just love that you made the choice. A lot of people might say, well, I'm going to wait until this other person comes along. Then we can do all that stuff. But you're like, no, we are a family. And the two of us right here, we're going to establish who we're going to be. Yeah. And I just pray that's an encouragement to anybody that's in the same situation. Tell me about Embrace Life. So how on earth did that bridge happen from Embrace Grace? Yeah. And how has that enriched your life?
So this is a cool story too. You're just getting all of the cool
I know.
Stories. So I had heard from Jessica that she had wanted to start a single moms group. Yeah. And it was a little bit after I had graduated Embrace Grace, and I had Theo, and I was getting into the rhythm of what it felt like to be a mom, to be a single mom, to be still going to church, to be able to get out of bed and into church, right? And I heard about it, and immediately I told myself, I want to do that too. Immediately.
Yeah.
And I heard the Lord say, just wait and pray. I prayed for 6 months, Mark.
Wow.
I prayed for 6 months. Lord, I really want to do this. I really want to lead. Because I had been to other churches before, and I'd been asked probably within the first 2 or 3 weeks, hey, can you lead a life group? And I was always like, no, I don't feel like that's what I need right now from, and being faithful to what God had called me to. And so 6 months go by, and I asked the Lord, do I need to tell my story? Do I need to prove anything? And he said, you have nothing to prove. I will speak your name behind closed doors. Just trust me.
You're like,
okay, cool, God.
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah. All right.
So I pray for 6 months. I get a phone call from Kristen. Hey, your name came up today about leading a single moms group with Jessica. Is that something you'd be interested in? Kristen, I'm telling you, I've been praying for 6 months that the Lord would make a way, and I was ecstatic. I called my mom, I called my friends. I was like, this is, coming to fruition to see what the Lord has done. And so it all kind of came together after that. The Embrace Life curriculum is such a beautiful transition off of Embrace Grace.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we sit and watch those videos, and one, it's great because I don't have to prepare that much.
Right. You got a lot going on besides that, so a little easier.
So there's a curriculum, there's a video, there's books that Embrace Grace provides for Embrace Life. And the great part about this group is that you don't have to be a single mom who has gone through Embrace Grace. We want every single mom in church to be a part of this group and that's honestly what it's mostly made up of. Yeah. Women in the church who have heard that there's a single moms group and they show up.
So cool.
And I love that. I love that. Because it is God going before me and me not having to chase and try.
Yeah.
It's the invitation from God. Hey, this is what we're doing. So Embrace Life is this beautiful curriculum where we get to tackle the hard things. What is it like to be co-parents? What is it like to have a blended family? How do we deal with our finances? What do we do about sexual trauma?
Wow.
Like, it's all of these topics that are hard-hitting topics for those particular subjects. And also, what is your identity? How is your relationship with the Lord? And asking those questions, bringing scripture in and inviting these women to not just hear the word, but to have that discussion of, okay, how do we do this then? If this is the encouragement, I want to live this out. And I feel so grateful to be leading this group because these women are raw. They are transparent. Single moms are some of the most generous people that I've ever met.
I agree.
And that is a gift in of itself because we understand what it's like to feel like we're not getting what we need. And so when we see someone that needs help, we want to offer that help because we've felt that before.
Oh, yeah.
And I hope that that's a call to the married families in our church too, that there are people that want to be loved. Yeah. This is, as single moms, I would love to be loved by a couple and be told, hey, come on over for dinner. We'd love to have you guys. Because I have had so many good, close friends who have done that for me that I didn't know I needed it so badly. Because it's different when you're parenting along with other people.
Yeah. I know that there's this dream in you and there's this desire in you to be a leader. I see that from who you were when you accepted Jesus at 6 to who you are today. And that is being fulfilled. You may have felt like, curveballs, right? How on earth, God? But I think he's using you more than you could ever imagine. And you're helping raise a generation of moms that have been in your place, whether they're single or not, to say, I have this beautiful gift to speak life into my child. I have a choice, and I'm going to put Theo on my lap. When he's 13, I might be a little harder, but I'm going to speak into that little guy every day. And whether there is another significant in my life or not, God is enough of a significant that we're going to do this. And that kid is going to become everything God destined him to be because he placed that in you. He did. And so that's in you. So thank you for being such a leader, not just in our community, but in the greater kingdom of God. Bre, God is using your life. and has used all the leadership training and the person that you have been and the choir, but he's using all that to create just a great influence in you for others. So I think it's such an honor that we get to be a part of that. So thank you. Yeah. Tell us about your podcast, because on an ongoing basis, I mean, you're doing this every day. So what's the podcast about and how can we connect with it?
Yeah, it's called Me, Myself, and Why. And the reason I started the podcast was because I wanted to have a place where I could talk about what it felt like right now. Walking the journey with someone is part of the joy, in my opinion. It's not the destination. Yeah. It's always the journey with people. And so it's on Apple and Spotify, where I am small. I have 6 episodes out there.
Hey, 6 is good. It's better than 1.
It's better than 1. But the reason I started it was because I felt like there was a lack of podcasts that walked with single moms where they were at. And sometimes it's just cathartic and I just need to be able to say it out loud. Yeah. But I also am walking alongside friends and family members who are single or married and they don't understand what it is like to be a single mother. Yeah. And so part of it is to bring light to that. But mostly it's to encourage other single moms out there. Most of my friends who listen to it, they, I had a friend, this is a podcast that I was working on this morning that I'm going to talk about. It's why do we need married friends? It was literally.
That's a great question.
And my friend who's married, who has a wonderful husband, and I adore their family, she and I actually met at a gym that I was going to. I was doing more of like a cross training or CrossFit style while I was pregnant.
Whoa.
Oh, I was hitting PRs in the gym.
Dang.
Let me tell you. Anyways, her and I met. She hadn't become a believer yet. Wow. And it was this beautiful story. I got to give her a Bible. I have got to see her walk with Jesus in a completely different way. So she asked me the other day, hey, what is it like to be a single mom and to have married friends? I would love to hear a podcast on that. Well, it's now a 2-parter because I had so many words about it. But I wanted to do something that I was able to speak out loud and give a voice to some women who maybe don't feel like they have one.
Oh, that's beautiful. And those are good questions that people are asking, but you're right. There's not great answers out there. So I'm thankful you're giving great answers. Yeah. And I think it also helps somebody on the other side, even from my end, to listen in so that I can have greater understanding to know how to help, encourage, and strengthen, because we need each other.
Absolutely.
Man, that's so cool. So tune into that. We'll also put that in the notes for this podcast so you could do that as well. I just want to thank you so much again for being here today and for sharing with our community the greater kingdom of God. And most importantly, just for the single moms out there, because they matter. And you are a great example that you can flourish no matter what. I'm so grateful for your parents as they get a chance to listen. I'm thankful for Theo and the life he is going to bring and what God's got planned for him. So thank you, Bre, for doing what you do and being who you are. I'd also like to say to anybody out there that's looking for a church or needing community, you can find 2911 in Tempe, Arizona, or online at 2911church.com. You can watch services, be encouraged. You can show up to embrace life, embrace grace if you're a single mom or you're trying to figure out this journey that you're on in particular, or whatever it is that you're going through. God's got a plan and a hope and a future for you. So stick with us and stay with us. I want to encourage you, as Bre said, the most important relationship you have is with Jesus. So grow that relationship. Thanks again for being here today. It's going to be a great day. See you later.